Hi guys, today we are going to have a look at Mapsimise.com. Alistair, the CEO of Mapsimise, has asked me for a review because he's about to make some changes to the site anyway. So let's see what else we can help him improve as he's going to be making changes. First thing that pops up in my head is the form is overpowering the main sales message over on the left-hand side. So it can be a really effective conversion rate optimization tool to have your form right up here. It For a lot of people, it's going to skyrocket their conversions. The only problem with the way that the hierarchy works, by hierarchy, I mean that the form is taking up more space than the sales message or the primary unique value prop, is that that's a little bit problematic. So what we need people to understand before they go and fill in a form is they need to know if it's for them, what it can do for them, why Mapsimise and not something else. So they need to understand what it is they're signing up for and that they're in the right place. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to move down underneath the sales message. It can still stay over here, but it might need to be shrunk a little bit, so that we get all of that useful information first before we're asked for the information. So by that, I mean shrink the form down, have the sales message larger. And a lot of copywriting is not just about the words, but it's about where you position things, to make it easy for your visitors to kind of go on their journey. And at the moment, we are hitting them with the form more strongly than we're hitting them with why they should fill it in. So let's have a look at the headline itself. This, I know for a fact, is going to change based on what Alistair's told me. So he knows that for every business is not an easy thing to sell. It doesn't necessarily connect with anybody because it's trying to appeal to everybody. And that's a really common theme I see across a lot of B2B websites. And you can see from this drop down that Mapsimise has loads of use cases for loads of different types of people in loads of different markets. So that's something a lot of SaaS companies go through, this struggle of who's it for, who's it best for, especially when you're still fairly early stage. It's not an easy problem to solve, and it's not just a copy problem to solve, it's a business strategy problem. So what he's going to be doing is honing in on a specific niche so that he can make it very clear who it's for. And we also want to consider whether location intelligence is the right wording for that audience, whether they would call it location intelligence or call it something else. So that's probably going to change as well. So in terms of, are we targeting the right people with this headline? Will they immediately get it? The answer is probably no, and that's why Alistair is changing things. But how we get there is make it clear what it does, who it's for, and you don't necessarily need to get it all in the headline. If you can hook people enough with the headline to read on into the next bit of copy that usually sits underneath this headline here, then you're already in the right direction. Underneath, he's gone with features. Some of them feel benefit-led and some of them less so. So visualize all your business data in one view. If I am a potential Mapsimise customer, maybe I've been battling with trying to, correlate data across, multiple tools before, and maybe that would spur some emotion, but it's not a particularly emotional pull. And the other ones aren't a huge emotional pull either. So analyze your data by location. Okay, that's a benefit, but so what? Why do I need to do that? Create public and private maps, sharing your data. Okay, again, that's a feature, and you can share your data. Okay, so that's a benefit. Is it an emotion? Is it something that his ideal customers think about, worry about, struggle with? If it is, great, keep it in. If not, maybe there's a better message there. Map your CRM data in real time. So I don't know what people are doing normally hopefully Alistair does and can answer this. If they're mapping their data, maybe perhaps they're doing it like once a week or once a month, and therefore they are not responding to that data in a timely manner. They could be missing opportunities. Their competitors might be getting in there first. They could be losing money. They could be wasting time. So yeah, what's the end result of having it in real time versus not real time? These are the kinds of things that I would like to see pulled out a little bit more clearly or followed up in the copy below, or perhaps a little bit of lead in first that covers the emotional points and the end outcome before we go into the bullet points. So, make sure that you're making the most of your data, blah, 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 but in the customer's words, how they speak. So beneath that, it's got Mapsimise, helping you to succeed with your marketing and data analysis within one SaaS platform. Explore our many functions and features. Okay, so succeed with your marketing and data analysis. I think that gives you a clue as to where Alistair's going to focus his energy in terms of niche. So he's hopefully going to put that up in the headline, that it's for marketing data, or people that are interested in marketing data, people that have to use it and make the most of it. As for SaaS platform, now I like that it's got a bit of Alistair's personality in it, because it's nice to mash your voice of customer with your brand, and Alistair is part of that brand. But whether SaaS really matters to your customers is up for debate, especially if it's marketing teams, sales teams, people like that. They don't really care that it's a SaaS platform. To them, it could even be mumbo jumbo to them. To me, I understand it, and I talk about SaaS in my communications because those are my ideal customers. But in terms of SaaS platform for your end users, they don't tend to care. They might care that it's on a subscription basis, or that they can get it. There's actually a free version of Mapsimise, and so far I haven't had a clue that I can actually use a free version. There is this up here, get started for free, but it's not clear whether that's a trial or anything else. So there is a freemium version at the moment. Maybe it's around to stay forever. Alistair can answer that too. But that could be a big game changer, getting people onboarded like in a product-led style, and then helping them upgrade if they need to come the time with the way that you nurture people and the way that you onboard people, be that through the platform, through emails, through conversations, however you're interacting with your ideal customer. Very wisely, he has some social proof, which is Capterra, 5 stars. Capterra he's got some reviews on there, which is awesome, and a good place to start with voice of customer data. Perhaps bringing in an actual testimonial would mean more to his ideal customers. And I don't know how many of his ideal customers are familiar with Capterra, but it's still a step in the right direction to have social proof right up here in the top. In terms of the form, I'm not going to dig in too much to the form. It's great that he's mentioned no credit card required. There's quite a lot in here. So I would have, if I was going to make a quick and dirty change, I'd say start plotting your data in Mapsimise free instead of today. Because that's the strongest pull in my mind. No credit card required is a big risk reducer. And you can go and explore Mapsimise. Okay. So, in terms of it's quite a few messages in one line of text, and they're quite important. So I might be tempted to break this out a little bit and just prioritize free over, getting it done today, which I know, we talk about creating urgency in copy, but we've got to decide which is going to pull people in most. Is it that they can do it today, or is it that it's free? My guess is that it's probably that it's free. So that's something to test for sure. The next thing that I noticed is already have an account with us, click here. So it's good to have something like this in your forms in case people get confused and think, oh, this is my login form, when people are just in a real hurry. If they're already a customer, have something in the form or close by. But in terms of users, I would expect there to be a login button up in the top right section. This is where I'm most used to seeing it, and I wouldn't mind betting that there's some stats out there somewhere that say that that's where most people expect to see their login if they are using a SaaS. I look at SaaS sites all day long. So the reason why we want to mimic that is not because we want to copy everything everyone else does, but with familiarity, it helps people along. You know, we don't want, for example, they have their logo in the top left, which is absolutely what we expect now. We always expect to see a logo in the top left. We usually expect it to take us to the home page. So that's all gravy, but we want to make use of the fact that it's make it familiar for people to know where to navigate to. And that's why I would have that up there. Now there's these social icons up here. Now that's a big risk. It's good that it's opened in a new tab, but do you really want to send people away from your site at such a critical point? I would say no. So I would consider either removing these completely from your homepage or having them, if you really want to keep them, have them in your footer. But yeah, I usually avoid anything that takes people away from, you know, this is where we really want them to fill in the form, right? We don't want them to go and check out Instagram and Facebook. Maybe that would be a place, something to put into your footer on your blog, your resources page, something like that. If people are still like trying to get to know you, that's probably a safer bet if you really want to keep them. Moving on down to these logos here, it's not clear to people immediately what this means. I know that this is likely to mean that it integrates with these data sources or that you can easily import from these data sources. I know that because I know a bit about Mapsimise, but let's, you know, imagine ourselves in the shoes of people that have never heard of Mapsimise. Are they customers? Are they integrations? It's not clear. Let's make it clear. You can do that with a tiny little bit copy here. You know, easily import your data from, you know, the tools you use every day, something like that. Moving down, I love this section that there's actually a process section. A lot of SaaS companies forget to do this, and people want to know how easy is this going to be and what's the end result. So, you know, 10 out of 10 for having this section there. But I would make it like really clear. I know your data mapped is really nice, but maybe that could be eyebrow copy but eyebrow copy is when you have a smaller font piece of copy above a headline, and then have a headline that of that sort of subhead, of that size, saying how it works. Because if I'm just skimming down the page like a lot of people do, if you've ever watched any recorded user sessions, people scan. If they're looking for how it works, they're going to look for those kinds of words. So that's the only thing I would really change here. For now, get started for free. Love that we have CTAs sprinkled throughout the page. So maybe people are convinced by now to get started. I would add the risk reducer of no credit card required underneath. And perhaps, you know, it's free forever. Some people might want to go and check out the features, and I think that's fine to have a secondary CTA here for people that still want more information before they go and get started for free. You could test it without as well. And then we get into a section where we have blogs. I'm not a big fan of having a blog section on the bottom of your homepage when really we're trying to get people who are, you know, we want to persuade them to get started. That's the main goal for Mapsimise right now, is to get people started. If we haven't given them enough information to get started, sending them to a blog isn't necessarily the right next step. And blogs are usually more of a top of funnel tool to get people attracted to your site, get to know your brand, and perhaps understand a little bit more about data mapping and what kind of problems it can solve. So absolutely brilliant that you've got a blog with all those resources. I just wouldn't necessarily want to send people there now. Another CTA, so more bonus points. Want to visualize your data using Mapsimise, get started for free. Okay, remember to add in your risk reducer underneath. Don't expect people to remember stuff or to have read it before. People go all over the shop when they're scanning your page. So, you know, sometimes repetition is your friend, despite what people will tell you. And then we get into this section, which is about integrations or connections. So I don't know the difference between what was at the top and what's here. I think it's the same thing. Doesn't hurt to remind people, but what's the benefit of connecting with these? My best guess is that it will pull in data from any of these sources so that I don't have to do any manual uploading of data anymore. What's the pain around that? What pain are you removing by having those integrations? Let's make that clear, because you can keep them up here, but here would be, if you want to reiterate this, and this is a really important message, then, why do they need to connect with them? What's it going to solve? I would hit hard on that as well. See more information on our supports. Not going to dig into that too much. And then a big footer with loads of navigation to different areas at the bottom. So yeah, those are the main changes I would make. And yeah, as for the form, yeah, I might make it a bit smaller, but keep it up at the top, I think would be wise. So yeah, that's it. I don't know how long that took me. Let's have a check. And guys, if you want to not miss any of these, I have decided I should start emailing them to people who want them. So if you are one of those people, you can DM me on LinkedIn and I will add you to the list. The only thing I'm going to send you are reviews, copy reviews like this, maybe some copy tips. It's probably only going to be once every week or so. These are probably going to come a bit faster, the reviews, but maybe some tips once a month as well. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these because LinkedIn didn't show it to you, or you haven't subscribed and you're not getting notifications, pop me a DM. I'll add you to the list and you will keep getting all of these ideas from what other people are doing right and what they can improve. Use it for your own business. Thanks, guys.